Ain't that the truth?
No.
What are you trying to say?
We're on.
Are we recording a work session too?
Yeah, we always do.
We always do.
How many, what's it been for 2.5 years now?
Yeah, but I'll never cancel Christmas again, I'll tell you that.
Once was enough.
Yeah.
So, hey, good afternoon. It's our work session. Sorry for the slight delay.
Yeah, this is some of,
Didn't speed along in this weather.
for some of us, it's our second commissioners meeting today.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, the second one. You- first one
I was
Edith.
at regional planning today as well, we're at the transportation summit.
There you go.
So I wasn't neglecting, but I understand it was a little contentious. I'm glad I didn't show up.
Yeah, you missed it. You missed a contentious one.
That was
Well,
the
we
dictionary.
didn't have anybody scheduled for, or anything scheduled in particular for work session, so what's anybody want to talk about? I guess it's wide open, or we recess and come back at 2 when we're scheduled for our regular board session where we can do.
You want to talk
Action.
about MARIGJUANA? Ready?
Yeah, I guess we could.
Got it under new business.
Oh, we
Yeah,
do this?
I mean,
We already have that? It really
Not
isn't.
exactly.
It's really not new business.
I don't know what you
No.
are talking about, but yeah, whatever.
As long as the paper's here, that we can. that we
Opiate
can
task
talk.
force.
Oh. What were you
What the hell
spelling?
kind of fingernails you? Purple? Wow.
He made fun of mine this morning too.
I know it is.
Well, I just
If my
reported
comes
that.
out, you'll see them.
Okay. No. What I would do, did want to talk about the opiate task force. I guess we could talk about that now. Yes, no?
Sure.
Okay. Is that, and this I'd like to get in the paper too, is that, you know that there's going to be on the ballot this fall,
Referendum.
an initiative to legalize marijuana. Well, needless to say, the opiate task force, which is the judges, mental health board, as a commissioner that I'm on it, blah, 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 that we are adamantly opposing any effort to legalize marijuana. So with now saying all of that, is that we'd like to be able to get the message out that where the opiate task force is in opposition of this, and there's going to need some advertising and so forth that needs to happen. So my initial response was to come to this board to see if we could appropriate a couple thousand. Now, with me saying that, I understand that that's not something that we're allowed to do, is spend taxpayers' money on something of that nature. So what I want to do, and that's why I want to do it in front of the reporter here.
Reporters are true.
Okay. Is that, with that being said, is that
He's thinking about the-
perhaps we could set up a fund to ask for private donation. I'm trying to look at, to be able to fund this, to get advertising, some billboards and so forth, maybe $2,000-3,000 is what we're looking at. I know we can't do it on taxpayers' money, but if we could, that could get in the paper, and could we set up a fund where private donation could come in?
Financially, I bet we can't, but, not the bad
Well-
idea, but I bet we can't set up the fund.
Yeah, that's, I
A
mean,
separate private
Yeah.
entity is gonna need to
So I
set up
guess
the
it
fund,
has to be, it
committee.
has to be done through a private agency.
Yeah.
Whatever our opinion is about a ballot issue, we have a responsibility to represent everyone that elected us, and therefore there probably are a number of folks who may vote one way or the other. Again, it doesn't matter what our personal opinion is. If, if the judges have a private corporation or a private service organization that wants to do something, then it's up to them. But I don't think we can even endorse it, because it's just, I mean, it'd be like endorsing a candidate. We just can't do that. And just to make it clear, there are really two ballot issues. One is about a monopoly. The folks that are proposing that marijuana be legalized is a company or a group of companies who would have the sole distribution rights in the state of Ohio. Again, that's a slippery slope, so that's one issue that'll be there. The second issue then would be making marijuana legal in the state of Ohio. We've already made this mistake, in my humble opinion, once with the casinos. We have one group who dominates the casinos as a monopoly. So that's, that makes for no competition. And we have to decide on this issue as a state whether or not we're going to allow another monopoly and allow marijuana to be legal. So it's really two valid issues.
So I understand that we cannot support any advertisement, or we can't use any public money, but can the commissioner's office be a catch-all where if there would be private citizens that would be willing to make a donation so that could be given to the opiate task force? They're gonna need some kind of money someplace to be able to
We can't be the collection point for it, because all our monies have to go through the auditor's office and through the county system. So we can't be the collection point for it. You know, if you as an individual wanted to head up the anti-whatever, you know, committee against, or committee for the safety of, or, you know, call it what you want, you then could do that. But like I said, we can't do it through the county operations. Ask them, maybe they can.
I'll turn it off.
That was,
I
is that the
guess.
seller or the buyer?
Yeah. I guess maybe in summation, if there would be interested parties that would be, that would be willing to support this, to leave my number that they could call me, and maybe that, not as a commissioner, but to establish some sort of coalition. Again, we're not talking, you know, a couple, 2,000-3,000, I think is kind of what the budget would be needed. So I would do that more as a private citizen and not as an elected official.
Well, I heard that the company that's gonna be allowed to have this, I think they're spending $30 million in marketing.
Well, I think
That
that
was-
you're
that
gonna
was
find out
the-
come
The ones
September and
in
October,
favor
there's
of.
gonna be a
Both
tremendous
or
amount of.
one or the other.
In favor of both. Yeah.
There's-
Well, I think Commissioner Dollar, what you'd have to do is say, as an individual, they can contact you. I mean, this is your individual choice, and I think it's a fine choice, but we couldn't do it as a board. If you wanted to do something as an individual elected official, that's up to you.
Okay, well, and again, if that could be in the paper, and then list my private number, and again, what I would ask is that if there's enough individuals that are interested, perhaps we could form some sort of non-governmental coalition to bring in some resources to be able to give to this opiate task force. Again, right now you don't hear much about it, but I'm telling you, September and October, it's gonna be all over the airwaves on this thing. And if we don't start gaining some support now in opposition of this, then we're gonna be behind the eight ball.
And I think it's perfectly fine to, obviously, under the umbrella of the mission of the opiate task force, for this to be, you know, like I said, share this information, we just, like I said, we can't manage it and come out in favor or in opposition of it or anything as a board, but obviously all the work of the opiate task force against, you know, what they're trying so hard to do with the limited resources they have, and then to fight, what you said, somebody with lots of money putting it out there, and it's a statewide issue. It's not just a Seneca County issue, nor is the opiate issue. That is a statewide, you know, issue, not just a Seneca County issue. And so it's.
Right. I hear you loud and clear, and my comments are more as a private individual, not as commissioner here. I hear you.
Do we want to bring Fred up to date on the alley joint ditch with Sandusky County? Okay.
Right now, that alley joint ditch is gonna have some major flooding issues, I can predict, given the sounds of the weather out there, but it was a ditch petitioned by some folks in Seneca County. The majority of the ditch, you jump in here wherever you want, the majority of the ditch is in Seneca County, probably 70% of it. And like Wolf Creek, like any of the other ditch issues, you know, over time, if ditches don't have to end up being put on maintenance, if they're being taken care of, and there's always, for various reasons, some landowners in some sections that don't have the means, don't have the ability, are absentee landowners, whatever, it doesn't get taken care of, so inadvertently, those taking care of it, the water gets held up otherwise because another part is not. So, you know, everybody needs to do their part, so the only way around that for landowners is the petition project bylaw. And so this was filed in 2009. The handout, I didn't want to get it drenched, is in my car, so I didn't bring it in. But there was a fair number of people not in favor of this, because it means assessments are gonna pay, you know, we put on their, you know, they either will pay up front or put on their property taxes. We voted one to grant the petition. This was the final hearing. And we voted on 5-year, 3%
3% interest.
interest, so if they choose not to pay it all up front, it goes on their property taxes over twice a year, each half. Some of it's on for the course of 5 years at a 3% interest rate. Because they're basically, Sandusky County is gonna, we serve as the bank, right?
Seneca County will be the.
Yeah, I guess we have to do is for our people, and they do it for their people. Is that how it works? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
We're 70% of it.
yeah.
Basically, the estimate was 275, so, you know, we're on the hook for about 200,000.
I guess I'm a
Majority
little
in
concerned if-
Seneca?
if-
Yes.
And why was the petition in
That's where it
Because
started.
at the time when it started, I don't know if, for whatever reason, their engineer took the lead on it. I don't know what was a timing
That's
issue
smart.
of things going on, but, yeah, because both of us have had the same engineers we had then.
Yeah, yeah.
But, for whatever reason,
But you have to know that it was a split decision.
yes.
2 of the Sandusky County Commissioners voted no, Holly and I, and 1 of the Sandusky County Commissioners voted yes. And they have a 21-day appeal period, which probably will happen, because, you know, it kind of has some legs with the split decision as it was. And as Commissioner Stacy stated, there were probably 30 people in the room, just an estimate, and, you know, maybe 3 of those were in favor and 27 were opposed. I don't think that's unfair. That's,
3 were in favor of that we would vote for the petition, and the vast majority was opposed.
oh, yeah, by
Yeah.
far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, I wasn't there because I was attending the regional planning, but from what I've been able to gather for that, I would have agreed with my fellow commissioners here in voting to honor the petition, so then it would have been a 4-2 vote.
Yeah.
Well, I did receive a couple calls from people that were for it, and as I said afterwards to some of the folks that opposed it, you know, we're here every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Please come in, have a conversation. I don't know about you folks, but I hadn't heard from anybody who was opposed to it until today.
I have.
Yeah, I agree, I haven't.
1 opposed and 1 for. And the 1 opposed, they were more, like, some of those folks there today were in question, and they got a legitimate question because of a sinkhole, because
Where's their water
of.
flow?
Yeah, they really believe their water flows a different way. And so they'll go back out and meet with those individual people and confirm, you know, what it does do.
A num-
And that was the one,
Yeah,
was.
a number of
the-
people from were contesting whether or not they actually use this ditch, because the ditch is, let's say, south of their property, and their water is flowing north. So they're saying, you know, basically, you get me unfairly because I'm not really, my property doesn't really flow into this. So that was the majority of the concern. Some lady spoke, for example, and said that the property that she and her sister own or whatever, was gonna get assessed, you know, in excess of $20,000, and that's actually about the net profit on their farm. And basically, we were taking the net profit, so that was a concern.
Anyway,
You said 3%, 5 years?
yes.
These are never easy decisions, but I applaud my fellow commissioner for making a decision and moving on, because these things just could drag on and on and on and on,
Right.
and sometimes you just have to bite the bullet.
I think from a public welfare standpoint, you know, we have to do what we said we would do as a group when we talk about strategic planning, and that is you know, some type of preventative maintenance and not kick the can down the road. You know, we could have very easily voted no unless somebody handled it when it's completely blocked 5 years from now.
Yeah.
But the fact is that it needs attention, there is opposition, but, you know, you gotta maintain the property that you have, you gotta maintain the ditches, and there was no question, nobody questioned the fact that there were some flow issues. You know, they questioned the fact as to whether the increased flow was gonna be of any value, but there were pictures shown where there were block, I mean, there are trees in the middle of the ditch in places.
And obviously, the engineers, you know, reports indicate that the benefits by far outweigh the cost.
Yeah.
And if, you know, as long as those things are met,
And both the Seneca County engineer and the Sandusky County engineer recommended that this happen.
One of the next thing I know that Commissioner Kirschner, you're chairing the
Building and maintenance?
building and maintenance. I had a meeting with Kathy Oliver yesterday out to Job and Family.
Yeah.
And she mentioned that they are having some issues with the roof and so forth. And I'm sure that Palmer, and they're making us aware that we need to start addressing that over the next couple of years.
that's on the
And I
list.
think that Palmer is probably did an assessment of the roof out there, and I'd like to get his opinion on that. And then, if that's the case, I think there's some funds that Job and Family may have of their own where they can start addressing some. We may have to put some in, but I think it's an issue that we need to investigate. From what I understand, that the first thing was put up in the 70s, and that's still the original roof. And then there was another addition that went on sometime in the 80s, and that's still the original roof. So there's some age on the roof out there. And then
We need to change schedule. We are scheduled right now as a committee to review all the buildings downtown, next week one day, I think. And then a separate day to go back out south and look at all those buildings. So we can adjust it and add that one early if we need to.
And I know Tanya's got them, because we were talking about something the other day, and I know she's got them on the radar screen based on years and whatever, maybe information she got from Palmer.
Okay.
So I'm sure she'll share that with you in the committee and of schedule, because she says, well, you know, down the pipe, we got this roof, this roof, this roof. She rattled them off the other day. And what type of schedule, but so she'll have that too.
Okay.
I don't think they were having leaking issues yet.
Pardon?
I don't think they were having leaking issues yet.
Yeah, they had some where they did some patching,
Oh.
and it apparently has resolved it temporarily. But when you just start looking at the age of the roof, that, I mean, it's, a day of reckoning is coming, and it's getting closer and closer, so we need to start addressing it.
Yeah.
And I love with Palmer, and I'd like just to have an update, that what they did with the CSB building, that and just to bring you in on it, that we were able to do it in third, and a third. And the guarantee, if it's a 20-year,
We had to change that.
I had to change that.
That's
because of
what
the-
they recommended, and we were trying it, but then we had the problem, remember?
no, I don't, but
When did that,
That was about a month, 2 ago when we
Yeah.
decided that. They're working on specs to bid out the whole roof
Yeah.
because of the,
well, we got the first half done, so the first third was done. Now they're talking about the second and third to be
Yeah.
done now.
yeah, because of the leaking issues in that building.
Yeah.
They're getting pretty bad.
I recall that was about 100,000 each third.
It was gonna be about 100 altogether for the last sections.
yeah.
For the last two sections.
Yeah, yep.
And we have we have half of that we've already budgeted in, correct? So I'm trying to look at the.
About a
at the-
third of it's done.
Yeah,
It
third
was
of the
done.
building's done, yes.
Third of it's
Whatever's
already
done.
done, we've already, which was done last year,
Right,
correct?
yep.
So we have 2/3 left, but half of that 2/3 was budgeted in for this year.
Right.
Yes,
So what,
yes.
so the actual impact on the budget this year will be that other half of the third?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think
Making sense?
the next building would have been, the next building is the sheriff's office. That was on the list to
Are you
do.
ready to fun?
That's for this year?
No, next. That would have been, when we get the CSB done, then the sheriff's office
Okay,
is the
okay.
next on Palmer's list of buildings. But
Okay, it'd be interesting to see what their evaluation was of the
Okay.
job and family. Because that was all part of their scope.
Yep.
Okay, work session done?
Sure.
All right, Madam Chairman. Good. Back at 2?
We can take a brief recess and we'll start a regular session at 2 o'clock.
All right.
Unless is there any reason you need us to?
No,
We
we
let you
can
introduce
start
your-
at 2.
Okay, all right, I was gonna say, we've got you on at 2 o'clock, but
That's
we could do
perfect.
it now if you need to get moving, because you wanna
No.
go play in the rain or something. I don't know. It wasn't an easy drive from your office here, because I
Yeah.
was coming from Fremont, and I got concerned, the viaduct was okay yet, but it wasn't gonna be for long with what we heard. I don't know. All right, well, recess will be short break.